So here's what we've got planned for the rest of the forum. The next up is going to be James Scott from JD FinishLine. He's going to give us a quick overview of some of the stuff that he learned when he did migration to Jira Service Management. After that, we're going to take some of the concepts that Paul was sharing with you guys and give you guys a real practical overview of how they work in the tool and how some of these platforms that are out there are all interconnected together. So James, are you ready?
I sure am.
All right, take it away, sir.
All right, I did get a presentation together, so let me share that real quick. Okay. All right, so I'm here today to talk about JD FinishLine's journey from ServiceNow. We did a rip and replace to the Atlassian tool set, and XPM was our partner on that. So I can't say enough good things about XPM. I'll plug them here. They're great. They're an amazing partner. They answer questions. They're timely. They help us out. They're awesome overall. They're just great. So journey overview. We'll just go through a few of these topics. Well, we'll go through all these topics here. First, we'll talk about me just for a second, but that's not really what this is about. We'll go through, why we moved over to the Atlassian suite, our process when we migrated, the transition, our rollout to our agents and customers, any surprises along the way, and then talk about some of our licensing. So about me, I kind of have been in a few different main sectors and fields here in the market. I worked in finance for a little while. I worked for a credit union in their technology department. Then I went to higher education. I worked for college. Then I worked for a pharmaceutical company, and now I'm here at JD FinishLine, which is a retail company. My experience, I had ServiceNow for 6 years. Now I'm in the Atlassian suite for about 2 years. JD FinishLine is a small to medium-sized enterprise. So, around here you kind of wear many hats because, it's just not a big organization with these robust technology teams. So you could probably say that I'm the technical manager, the PO, that should be project manager and product manager, all in one role. Again, we're a small company, so you kind of do a lot of things, and I actually have a whole other technology team that I manage as well. That's all the technology in our stores. So motivating factors to move to Atlassian. I think our biggest, from us, the biggest solved here was we just wanted to consolidate platforms. So we were already using Jira software for our software development side and project management side. And then we were using ServiceNow for our ITSM side. So we kind of had these two platforms, and we did build an integration between them. So that way, issues from ServiceNow could go over to Jira software if we needed to escalate stuff to, some of the engineering teams. But we found out it was just a lot of juggling between two platforms, because now sometimes people had to use one platform for one thing and one platform for another. So the big solve here was, how do we get, and this was really enterprise-wide, how do we start consolidating all of our platforms across the enterprise into, single platforms that could do everything. So for us, that was the big solve. Cost savings wise, once we were engaged with XPM, we obviously started having some of those discussions, and it became readily apparent that the cost savings from that XPM could give us on the Atlassian tool set was just very attractive, compared to the ServiceNow suite. I mean, I can't even tell you how good it was to see something like that, and you're like, holy cow, we can actually save a lot of money here, which, people in my upline, that's what they want to see, the dollars in savings, right? So they were really attracted to that. And then the last thing that we considered, cost savings aside, is this actually the right move for us? So You know, we'd kind of been looking at Jira Service Management. At the time, it was Jira Service Desk. We'd kind of been tossing that idea around for maybe like a year, 2 years. And to be quite honest, we just didn't feel like maybe it was mature enough or had the same level of maturity that ServiceNow offered. You know, at the time, ServiceNow was, you know, the gold standard in ITSM tools. So we kind of kicked the bucket and tossed it around, you know, for a couple of years, and then finally, you know, we reviewed it again, just like we had our tool sets every year, and decided that I think it was time to actually execute and make the change, because they just become this, you know, really robust tool set that, you know, we felt comfortable could actually do just a complete rip and replace of ServiceNow. Hurdles that we encountered. So honestly, the largest hurdle was me. I was the guy that did not want to move away from ServiceNow. You know, I'd had such a large breadth of knowledge with ServiceNow, and it was very expansive. And you know, me and the other ServiceNow administrator on the team, we just did not, you know, we're ServiceNow fanboys. We did not want to move away from it. And so really quite frankly, I was the biggest one that was like, no, let's not do that. Let's, you know, it was me. I was the one that was very resistant to it. And kind of in these other, you know, two bullet points here, those were kind of like my main reasons, right? Now me and this other guy have to learn a new tool. And we're like, you know, we already know this one. It's great. Let's just keep using what we have. So just from our side, just the resistance there, we just didn't want to really learn a new tool or go down that path. And again, we're a small company, so you know, the project planning piece and the coordination and all the headaches that go with that on top of, you know, your daily duties, you're just, you know, for me, I just was very resistant. I was the one that didn't want to make the change. So, but again, you know, we eventually got to the point where it just made sense from a cost perspective. It made sense from an integration perspective, because it would now integrate seamlessly with Jira software. And then, so yeah, it was, you know, things just came together, and you know, for me and the leadership team, it was the right move. Our transition. So if anybody's ever done a rip and replace, timeline wise, it never works out the way that you want it to. With XPM helping us, it worked out perfectly. You know, they gave us a time frame, and you know, Tony and I, my counterparts, we both were kind of like, there's no way we're going to do a rip and replace in this amount of time. It's just not possible. But XPM, again, is just very knowledgeable. You know, we walked through scenarios, we whiteboarded out workflows, we gave them our requirements as we were talking. And you know, they're real quick, like, oh, we got something for that, we can do that, we can do this. I mean, it was I couldn't believe that we actually did a full rip and replace in the time frame that we did, especially because I've got this other project where we're doing a rip and replace, and it would, you know, it's taken the better part of you know, a year and a half to do. So typically that's not the timeline that they gave was not something that I thought was even feasible, and I thought they were blowing smoke, but it wasn't. They were spot on. XPM, again, it was just a great transition. Surprise wise, not too many surprises. You know, there's little things here and there during the transition that as you're walking through it, there's stuff that works differently than it does in ServiceNow. So in ServiceNow, you kind of have like a set mindset. Oh, it needs to work this way. Let's translate that into the Atlassian tool set. It doesn't work the same, but the end is the same. The means to get there is going to be different, but the end is always the same. I mean, we were able to perform all of the same functions, tasks, everything that we wanted to in the Atlassian tool set that we had already had in the ServiceNow tool set. So if that's ever something that you're thinking about, that you know, again, for me, the hesitancy was there also, like, am I going to be able to do the same thing? you will be able to, whether it's natively or whether you do it on automation or whether it's an add-on, you can do all the same things that you would think you can from ServiceNow into the Atlassian tool set. XVM's training was great. So, you know, we actually got a week of training with them. We just kind of attended virtually in their classroom setting. You know, Connor does a great job of going through those training sessions. And then the other, which I think is huge, it was probably the biggest benefit to us is, you know, we were ServiceNow engineers and administrators, and to get a completely new tool set in, and now you have to learn this new tool and be expected to, you know, now you're the expert in the company on it. The greatest benefit I think that we had with XVM was that we were in the driver's seat and they kind of rode shotgun and just told us all the things that we needed to do during the implementation and rollout of this, which was you know, that hands-on experience that you get is just something that you'll never get in any classroom. So just having them work with us and just ride shotgun and telling us and sitting over our shoulders and telling us what to click and what to do and then why you're doing that, I think was of great value. It was the most tremendous value that I think that they could give us on this implementation. And then the other piece for the transition, and it kind of goes along with that training and knowledge and learning curve, is the Atlassian community and knowledge base that they have on the web. Their community that they have out there is just fantastic. If there's a question that you have, search it, and you'll likely find the answer to it within minutes. You don't have to go hunting around for stuff. It's great. And their knowledge base outside of their Atlassian community is really good too. They have full training and learning modules that you can take that are free, which are awesome. So we get a lot of new hires in here that have never used Jira before, and it's very intuitive anyway. So it's, you know, it's really easy to use out of the box. But you know, if we get like a new developer in here and they've never used Jira before, which is a surprise, you know, anymore, because everybody, you know, Jira is like the gold standard with you know, software development. But it's really easy to use, and it's all in their videos, and they've got the same thing for Jira Service Desk and Jira Software Management. I mean, their training videos that they have and their e-learning modules are great. They're very good things to look at if you've never used Jira before. The rollout to agents and customers, so I kind of hit on that on previous. So the adaptation, again, it was really easy to adapt to. The rollout was easy. It's very intuitive. I really think it would be difficult to not get it. It's very simple to use. From an administrative perspective, you know, again, it's a little bit different than ServiceNow. You'll be able to still do all the same things, but you'll just do them a little bit differently. So it's kind of, you have to wrap your head around, like, this is the way Atlassian does it. And then once you know that that's how it's done, it's really easy to use. Really, the only thing that I think, me personally, that I struggled with was just permissions. Their permission structure is a little bit different, so just kind of wrapping my head around about how all permissions work was really the big hiccup that I had, that took me a while to finally get an understanding of. But once you get it, now it's not that bad. Again, we set up training sessions for our end users and agents. We had multiple training sessions over the course of multiple days that all of our agents could use. So that way they could just see the form, function, and flow of how to actually click through Jira Service Management. You know, here's where statuses are, here's how you assign it to yourself, you know, here's what customer facing comments do, here's what internal comments do. Do you want to put the end user's manager on the request as a request participant so they get updates too? You know, we just kind of walked through all those things so they could just really just have a fundamental understanding of the user interface on the Jira Service Management side. And then that to go along with that, I know Paul kind of hit on it. You know, there's a great documentation and knowledge base confluence that you can attach to all the Jira Service Management projects. Again, those are meant to deflect calls or tickets anyways. So that way, you know, if a user comes in there and starts typing in keywords, knowledge base articles start populating based on what their keywords are. And, you know, the more you get those users to self-help, you know, the better, right? You know, but you can just avoid going to any technical team altogether. So, you know, those two things together, Jira Service Management and Confluence, are a really good, you know, just set of products right there. Surprises. So, you know, surprises for us, it was very, at least for me, from a technical manager perspective, just the ease of integrations with other tools is very robust. So they've got a lot of native integrations that you can use. I know Paul mentioned OpsGenie. You know, at the time that we moved to Jira Service Desk, OpsGenie had not been natively a part of Jira Service Management, and now it is, which is fantastic. So that was one integration that we were looking at, and there's lots of others with monitoring tools, specifically on the OpsGenie side. So they have a lot of marketplace add-ons that you can get for Jira Service Management, which are also great. Some of them are free. You know, most of the add-ons actually that we have are free. You just get them right out of the box for free, and they integrate seamlessly. And everybody's like, "Oh, this is great. I wish we would have had this months ago." So, you know, always take care to look at the marketplace monthly and kind of see what is trending that month, because you never know when you'll stumble across something that's you know, amazing and really help your user base. And then, yeah, the second one there, you know, they're continually procuring, Atlassian is continually procuring other value add companies, and more of those are becoming native apps. I know Paul mentioned a couple of them on his, you know, OpsGenie, asset management, and there's a few other. Proforma was another good one that we were already using, and now it's just part of our, now it's just part of our product suite. So they're really finding those value add, like, oh, this would be great if it was just part of our deal, and they seem to be doing a very good job with their strategy and the roadmap of getting all of those just natively into their product suite, which is awesome. And then licensing, you know, again, I got to plug XPM. They're fantastic. You know, that was one of the major selling points for us, was just the cost savings that we were going to have. You know, XPM manages all of our licenses for us, and that's everything. That's Bitbucket, that's Jira Software, Jira Service Management, OpsGenie, you know, status page, the whole deal. We get one bill a month from XPM that says, hey, here's your invoice. We don't have to jump through a bunch of hoops. Or I'm sorry, we actually get one annual deal. But yeah, it's the ease of licensing management with XPM is fantastic. And then the cost savings that we get by doing it through XPM is fantastic too. You know, sometimes you can go to the website and look to see how much some of those licenses cost, but you'll really want to work with a partner on licensing like XPM to go through that process. They're absolutely fantastic. And I think that might be it for me. Yep, that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you, James. Appreciate it. And a shout out to Tony, who's the guy that I worked with on their end, who was kind of the main admin. You guys were great to work with, and we really enjoyed that project. Yeah. Guys, thank you for hopping on here. A couple questions for you. Just some things that I wanted to, you know, kind of hear from you and talk about here in this forum is, like, one, you know, what do you think is your favorite, or maybe some advantages that you found switching from ServiceNow to Jira, as far as maybe quality of life improvements, things like that. And then also, well, we'll start with that one.
Yeah, so I think the biggest one for us would be how you can empower users to do things themselves. So like in ServiceNow, you know, Tony and I found ourselves having to do a lot of day-to-day, just administrative, you know, things. Where on the Jira side, you can actually say this person is like a project administrator. So they can go in and actually manage their own users. They can manage their own reports. They can do tons of things themselves after, you know, you give them a basic walkthrough of how it works. And again, it's so simple that they're like, oh, this is easy. You know, why wasn't I doing this before? So I would probably say that's the biggest save for Tony and I, just the amount of day-to-day, you know, just operational crud that we don't have to do anymore, that the users are just empowered to do themselves without breaking anything. You know, there's some really good cutoffs there of like, these are the things that project managers can do that Jira administrators, or these are things that Jira administrators, so system administrators can do that project administrators can't. But there's this whole subset of things that are awesome that project administrators can do that cuts down and just on the day-to-day time when they can go in and do it themselves.
Yeah, and I think, and a lot of times with, you know, with Jira Service Management, customers kind of want to, maybe they have an IT team and they want to have all their eggs in one basket, or all of their teams working in the same project. And I think for you guys though, and what typically works best for a lot of customers is not having your entire IT and infrastructure and ops teams all in the same project, but actually building multiple. How many projects, I don't quite remember, how many projects did we build out with you guys?
On the service management side, I think we built 4. And now that's exploded even more. We have a lot of business users that I didn't even get into that with. You know, we've got a lot of business side teams that use Jira Service Management too. So like HR, our real estate team, finance, legal, our facilities team, they all use Jira Service Management too. This isn't just an IT tool we're talking about. It's a full-blown, you know, business side users are now, the word's gotten out, and now we've got more teams. When I sit on calls, they're like, hey, we heard we can start replacing chat and email and phone calls with just this simple form that you guys can create. Well, yeah, I mean, and really it's just a 30-minute intake session. And then Tony and I work for maybe a few hours getting everything ironed out. And we say, hey, here's your minimum viable product. How does it look? Let's tweak a couple things. And then, you know, you're only talking hours in, and you've got a full-blown, you know, workflow set up for these people. It's great.
That's cool. Yeah. Very cool. Well, thank you, James. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Paul, do you have any thoughts? It's got to be fun to hear the testimonial.
It
about.
is. Yeah. It's especially the last part about the growth into other service teams. We see that a lot. But by the way, I love the FinishLine stores. I've been in them a lot. Great stores. Great where I get my running shoes. So.
All right. Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, guys.